Hey everyone, welcome back to the Elite Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Pop, along with my co-host, William McClellan, and our guest for part two, John Sallman. So we were just talking about John Sallman's life before real estate, and now we're kind of going to get caught up to present day of where he's at with his property management company. I'll go ahead and let Will start off with the first question.
Yeah, man. So John gave a ton of insight, lots of different industries, but let's get down to it, right? Let's talk about life today, where your career's at, where the business is at, what investments you're doing or investing in your own business, and kind of just talk about the operations.
Okay, sure. We are growing. The property management portfolio has been pretty consistent. Last year, we grew at 400%.
Wow.
Sales have been.
That seems a lot more than just saying consistent.
Well, I started very small, right? But then it just grew. So,
That's awesome.
But no, it's a little bit more of a right. You can't double. Well, maybe you can deliver it. I grew quite a bit last year. 4 times.
Let's not put a limiting belief in you. You know, like I believe in you. You can double every year.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. No, I would like to double it. I'd like to double it this year in the next 12 months. That'd be great. Just trying to help as many people as I can. So, and sales. I think we were talking kind of backstage. Sales and property management revenues relatively similar. Sales is more than property management. So. You know, I do sell. I have listings and I work with buyers, and then we have this property management. And like I mentioned in the first episode, my wife basically is the operations director, or chief operations officer for the property management. She does anything that doesn't require the license. She's not licensed. I'm the license. So writing leases, marketing the properties, I do. But anything else, she is just all over it. She's got as long of experience in property management as I do. She started in vacation rentals actually before I did. Actually, I was still a chef when she got into it. So she's been doing this a long time too. She knows how to inspect properties. Yeah. Talk to owners, talk to guests or tenants, process billing. She's doing all of it. And so, that's kind of where we're at right now.
That's really cool. I think having like a family business, husband and wife business is something that a lot of people when they're starting out either do really well at or don't. So I think it's really cool.
What on that note? I mean, what is? Did you guys have like a conversation ahead of time, like before y'all decided to unite on the business about? Just some parameters of like how you guys were going to operate your business and not let it interfere with your marriage.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm getting personal, but I just know there's a lot of people that have tried this before and it hasn't worked. And there's plenty of people that tried it and find it super successful. And I would love to hear from a success story, kind of like how you guys parameter on that.
Yeah. So we have the benefit. One, we have an amazing marriage. She's the best. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. So other than my kids, but we actually worked together when I first got into property management. We worked for the same company. So we already had some experience working together. And then the last job that I had in property management in vacation rentals as an employee, we needed some help, and I knew how to do it. So she came on to the company and ended up being there for a lot of years too, 5 years working there, helping, being a big part of that company as well. So we got to work together again. And I think we already had the practice when I was a chef, because you can come home from the kitchen being exhausted, irritable, stressed out, want to complain, vent about the day if something went wrong. And I didn't do that, or if I did, it was minimal, and hopefully she would agree with that. And so we were already kind of trying. We've already in the past had worked on like keeping work and home separate, and so so we already knew that we could get along as far as co-working. But when we decided to do this, we're just a support system for each other, so it almost seemed natural for us to do it together. And I'll tell you one thing that makes it work is I am talking to you from my office upstairs in the house, and her office is downstairs in the house. So we are separate. And because sometimes I need to give her some space, I will go work outside of the house. And I can tell when she needs, like, all right, you're in my face. I'm trying to get some stuff done and you won't stop talking to me about this or that or whatever. I will go to Wanda Coffee in Niceville and work all day from there. It's an amazing place to work. and give her some space. So you just have to listen to each other and, take care of each other.
No, I think that's rock solid advice. And I wasn't going to ask his personal questions, but I'm glad Sam did, because that's something that
yeah.
Because
well, hey, listen, you can be nosy, but people here need to hear like the real stuff. And I'm an open book. I'm an open book. You ask the question, I'm going to answer it.
That's exactly how I feel. Like, look, that's why I'll sometimes ask the things that a lot of people generally won't ask, because we all want to know. Because we all envy the people that are doing it the right way, So I mean, totally. I'm asking out of like, you're the best. I want to know. Give me some advice on how I can do it, Because I mean, like I said, I think it's cool advice, and like I said, it's great because I think that I've been to a lot of real estate conferences where you do meet a lot of husband and wife teams, and there's a lot of people I think are interested in doing something with their spouse full time, where they can spend time together and build wealth together, and have that family time available with each other.
Yeah. And, but you know what? I think the other thing that helps is you see these husband and wives and they do well when you go to these real estate events, is you have to like what you are doing, because then you're really just having fun with your spouse. If you are both not enjoying whatever the career is, then you're going to be miserable and you're going to complain to each other about these things. There's going to be some friction, but if what you're doing, then really you're just like, hey, I'm going to go do something fun. By the way, do you want to come with me? And it just happens to be dollar productive.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. No, so I think those, that's why I kind of brought up the point, is that sometimes people have a lot of success and sometimes it's not. So I really appreciate you kind of diving in there. So with the operations, and then kind of how you guys separate roles for your success in the operations, on how you're building the business. What's the scope of work, and how are you guys, doing 400% increases year over year on your business? Because I know that's what people will be super interested on.
Yeah. So the way to grow, or one of the ways to grow, not the way, one of the ways to grow is to be competitive in your pricing. And so we want to be the best price property management in the area, and we want to have the lowest fees in the area, but we need to feed our family. So what that means is we need to have as low overhead as possible.
Sure.
And so being as efficient as you can be is the secret to that. And so if we take on a listing or a new property, we go right to a checklist that you could just knock it out. Scrambling, you're not trying to figure this out, you're not trying to figure that out. We already have a photographer on, an amazing photographer who can answer the phone quickly and get you scheduled quickly. We already have what we need, the information we need to get from the owners, rather than scrambling to find it. We already have property management software that you can just plug it into. So when you have systems in place, you can do a lot of volume without the need to continue, to hire a ton of people. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think one of the goals for the company would be to be another one of the small businesses in this area that provide jobs to locals. I'd love to say, hey, we're able to provide a good place to work for people in this town so they can pay their bills and feed their families too. But growing and separating, like you said, like you're asking about the operations and those things, she's going to do, I know what I'm going to do. And if one of us needs to ask the other person to help with that, we just ask the question. We use a project manager called Asana, ASANA. So we're using the free version. It's so robust that we don't need the paid version. And so if she needs me to make sure a lease got signed and she sees it needs to be done and she's busy doing something else, she can assign it to me in Asana and I'll see that I need to do it. I can do it. I can check that it's done. She can see that I did it. And so we have checklists, we have project management like that keeps track of like just like the little things, right? These big things are easy to remember. I need to get a photographer out there, but like little things, you just task manage them and you can get a lot done really efficiently. And so the more we grow, the also is kind of dictating the separation of the things. I think what's happening is more is being pushed onto her and less on me because I'm out there doing the things that requires the license, like meeting potential sellers and getting listing agreements signed and things like that requires. And the busier we're getting, the more of that time it's requiring of me, and she's getting more and more. So I think if we got to the point where she couldn't handle it, that would be that hire would be actually probably relieving her of some of that operational stress.
Yeah.
So in a couple of weeks, we're going to be releasing an episode on our new virtual assistants that we'll be offering. So throwing that out there that
there you go.
If she needs a little backup, we might have a virtual assistant solution for you.
Yeah.
But on the note of what you were talking about, we talked about a little bit, prior, about the advantages of if I was going to be, listing my house, because I was like going to PCS from around here, the advantage I have of going with you, because you have the dispo option of selling it traditionally on the MLS or going ahead and taking it on under property management and keeping it as a rental.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that for people listening on about how you explain it to your clients too, because off the show, we were talking about how, you sometimes can, give up what's best for you because, your commission check is always going to be a lot more when you sell a home versus you get a year of managing it. But the client benefit of keeping it managed and gaining that appreciation is huge. So how would you, if someone was, coming to you to sell a home, how would you break it down for them and show them that?
Yeah. The biggest thing you can do is reveal what their true goal is, what they're really trying to do. Because if they're saying I might rent it, I might sell it, it might be just because they think they need I need money, I need this, or I need that. But talking to them and finding out their goals is the biggest thing. An example would be someone wants to keep it, they want to rent it out, but I'm trying to think of a better example. They want to sell it, but they might have to rent it out because they bought it a year ago and they unexpectedly got stationed at another installation, and you're trying to help them mitigate any potential loss, and so yes, selling the property is better for compensation wise for the company, but our mission is to meet everyone where they are in their real estate journey. It's a journey. You're going to rent for 10 years and then buy. Rent for the rest of your life. Rent your whole life, because you never want the stress of ownership, which is completely viable way to do it. Or buy a house as soon as you graduate college. All these different parts of your journey. If you need to find a rental, we want to help you find it. We're not going to try to convince you to buy a house. You're going to buy. If you want to rent, that's what you're going to do. So if someone's trying to make the decision and they really want to move, they're thinking about selling it, but they really want to move back into it one day when they retire, then find a way to make that work for them, or at least giving them the numbers. So I always tell everyone, whether it's real estate sales or not, that people are making the decision based on the information they have in front of them. Light goes from red to green. The information you have is now it's time to go. Car shoots across, then they have new information, so you don't go. And so if someone is thinking about selling, but they really want to rent it out, you give them the information about rental management and what our fees are and what it would rent for. And if you can work with them on their giving you their personal numbers, and you can work a worksheet with them, you can say, hey, listen, you can break even if we rent it for this. In a worst case scenario, this is what I think it's going to rent for. It looks like you're cash flow positive. If you think you can swing that, are you one emergency away from not being able to pay the mortgage where you're moving to and the rental, and so the more information they have, the better decision they can make. Or they want to rent it for a year. They want to wait out the market and see if the market's going to be different next year. When my wife and I had an investment property, we don't anymore. But what we did every year was we listed it for rent and for sale. And whichever one happened first is just what we did. And for a couple of years, it rented first. And then one of the years, we got an offer that we liked and sold it. And, hindsight 2020, I think I wish I would have kept it, but that's okay. But that's what we did. And if some owners don't even realize that's an option. We have a guy that wanted to sell his property, but really really couldn't get what he needed to get for it. He just really couldn't. It wasn't going to sell. And he didn't realize he could do both. And when we gave him that information, we did both. We got it rented. And now he's fine now, right? And now he's in a position where it'll rent really well for the next couple of years until the market shifts, and he's got a little more equity in the house, so he can make that sale.
I love that option for people, because so often I'll get asked, just because people know of me as a real estate investor, they're talking about how they need to sell their property because they need money, and then I'll tell them about refinance options that exist, because a lot of people just don't know that you can go to the bank and get a new mortgage to pull capital out, to harvest capital. You don't have to sell it to get it. So no, I think that's just great information and great option, because you're being selfless in the moment, but in the long term, you'll still more than likely get the sale, because if you're managing their property, especially if they move out of state while you're managing it, odds are you're the easiest person to list it with. So
well, that's what I tell owners that want to rent it for a little while before they might sell it, and they ask me, when they're looking at our owner agreement or our rental agreement, if you're managing our property, are we required to use you if we decide to sell in the future? Some property management agreements are like that. Ours does not include that language on purpose. I say, listen, if I'm doing a good enough job managing your property, you're going to want to list with me. But if I'm doing an okay job, and now you're at the point where you're going to sell your house, which is a huge deal, and I'm not doing a great job as a property manager, then I didn't earn your business. And so, yes, it should turn into business, but it's just an incentive for me to work really hard for them. And I tell other real estate agents in the area, send me the real estate agents that don't do property management, send me your people that are buying a rental property or that have been on the market 180 days and you can't sell and they're thinking about renting it out. Send it to me. I will 100% make sure that listing goes back to you when they're ready to sell. I'm going to do such a good job them that they're going to love you for referring them to me for the property management. You'll get that listing when they're ready to sell, or it's going to go so well, they're going to call you to buy their next investment, because now they feel like they can do this because they've got a good company that they can leverage to make it happen.
Yeah, I love that community partnership, there, because there's a lot of cutthroat in the real estate game. So it's nice to see people offering to work together, because Niceville is a small town community. So like if you ever did someone dirty, your reputation
This is a small town with a lot of agents, but there are some amazing agents in this town, and we all want the same thing. We just want it people as we can, and we can't do that by being adversarial. We have to take care of each other to take care of our consumer. I mean, if we're not taking care of the customer because we don't get along, that's not how you become successful.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So what advice would you give someone who wanted to start a property management company, from scratch, like, and that they were in another area and interested, kind of like, setting up the way you did with the property management and brokerage?
Yeah. I definitely suggest that you learn the statutes.
Yeah.
It needs to be like bedtime reading. No, but you have to, in the state of Florida, you have to have a broker's license. And so if you are a real estate agent without a broker's license, you cannot manage property for someone that's not your own property for compensation unless your broker approves it. There are brokers out there where an agent has a couple of property manage, but their broker has approved that, because the broker is ultimately responsible even if it's a rental, right? So if you have your license hung with the broker, whether you're selling it or renting it, you can't, as a real estate agent, can't hold funds in trust. So if you're holding a deposit, your broker is actually the one that needs to hold it, right? So if they want that liability. So if someone wants to get into property management, I suggest either finding a broker that is supportive of that. Maybe they have no real interest in doing property management, but they're supportive of you doing it. That would be great. Or getting your own, getting your broker's license when you're eligible to, and then making that jump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. So what's the next 12 months look for you in Salt and Light Realty?
I think in the next 12 months, we will do more sales than we did the previous year. And then I also see property management hopefully doubling. I say that on camera, right? And people are going to watch this, and maybe they can call me at the end of the year and hold me accountable to it.
Hey, we have a lot of people that share their aspirations and goals, and then
Yeah.
the listeners are already reaching out to them. So
Yeah.
I also think it's great. Like it's recorded here. It's a little bit different than just writing your goals down in your journal or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
Yeah. I have to go do it now. And then I do see employee growth with that growth. We're
Cool.
definitely to the point where we do have a broker associate that has his license hung with us. He's an amazing human being, and I enjoy working with him. He is in construction as well. He's a builder, and he's great at it. And then we do have an intern from Niceville High School who is fantastic. So there's actually 4 of us now kind of in this cute little company that we got here. But I think in the next 12 months, I think we'll have employees, and with that expected growth.
That's awesome. So what's kind of the lifetime goal for Salt and Life, or just you and your family in general?
When I was a kid, I thought that you had the career your whole life, right? That was kind of like, I'm in that generation where, you had the job for the 40 years and you retired and got the gold watch. And I thought, if I joined the Air Force, that's what I would do for my whole life. And then when I became a chef, like I said, when I got my real estate license, it was for the purpose of doing it on the side. I was not looking to leave the culinary industry, and then ended up that I was going to do the rest of my life. I've realized now that these cool careers can be just chapters, and the Salt and Light Realty is a chapter. I don't know if it's a 40-year chapter or a 15-year chapter. I don't know. I think ultimately the goal would be to, I don't know. I don't think either one of my girls wants it. One wants to get into ministry, and the other one doesn't know what she wants to do yet, but I don't think either one of them want to get into the real estate industry. So it's not like something I'll pass on to them. So maybe one day it's something that I sell, if the property management company continues to do well, we have something worth selling, that's someone gone and continue to take care of people. Maybe that's the future. Or maybe I do this till I die. I don't know yet.
I got you. Well, then outside of Salt and Life, just you and your families, like what's the end goal, or what's your why? What are you achieving moving forward to?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So my wife and I have been volunteering in the kids ministry of our church for the past 12 plus years.
Cool.
We really have a heart for kids in ministry. And then I am in the Mid-Bay Bridge Rotary Club. I joined that club about a year and a half ago, a little less than a year and a half ago. Like actually when I left my 9-to-5 job to do this full time, I joined that club. And it's a non-religious, non-political organization worldwide on every continent. 1.45 million people in the Rotary around the world just trying to do service. And I've fallen in love with that. I'm our club's president-elect, so come later this year, I'll be the president of the club for the year.
Congratulations! Congrats!
And
that's
so,
awesome.
Thank you. So I think that the future for the family is to continue to pour into our girls. With us owning our business, we get to spend as much or as little time as the girls need or want from us, which has been great. I went to the Rotary training to do the president this weekend, and because one of our daughters is homeschooled and my wife and I own our company, we work together. We all went down, and I did what I needed to do for the Rotary, and we had a little mini vacation. And so family goals would be just to continue to work really hard to be able to spend time together, and continue to be able to help other people. I think we just really like serving. And so I think continuing to leverage really good efficiencies, like I mentioned earlier, in the business operation, allow us to be able to go do, vacation Bible school in the summer and things like that. So I think that's a good question. I think the goal, now that I'm saying it out loud, would be just to be able to continue to serve others.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool.
I love that. And I'm actually I really love how you got your whole direction in this. I mean, I think I still think that's really cool how you consulted your pastor and to get an opinion and direction on that. I think that's something a lot of us should do when facing a fork in the road in life on what we should do next is, even if you're not religious, just finding someone, who you can trust that doesn't
absolutely
have that can give you, honest advice. Now, this is one of my favorite questions because this is what helps me, achieve and learn more. What's your favorite or even top 3 favorite books that helped you get to where you are in life that you contribute your success to?
So one of them is called "A Christ Died" by Jim Bishop. It is the last 24 hours of Jesus' life, and it is not the Bible, right? So it's someone wrote this book, some guy wrote this book, right? But what he did is he used the Bible and historical information to really paint the picture of what his last 24 hours was actually like. And so you don't have to be a Christian or religious to even read the book. It is extremely interesting. If you like reading and you want to be able to smell and visualize what it was like when Jesus was walking around, this book does it. One chapter is an hour of his life, and the next chapter discusses what the Jewish culture was and the traditions were that had to do with God. And then the next chapter is the next hour, and so on and so forth, leading up to his death. And it was something that changed my relationship with God. And the reason why that book is impactful is because when I started having a strong relationship with God, I'm hoping that I was becoming a better husband as a result. And you really start to look at things a little bit differently. You wake up every day with a ton of gratitude because there's a God that loves you no matter what. And you just want to go out there and let other people know how much they're loved. Even if they're not Christian, just going out in the world and letting people know how loved they are is the best feeling in the world. So that's one book. The other one is the 10X Rule from Grant Cardone.
Love that one.
There's some like learning things in there. Like I love one part of the book where he said, you just have to go 10X, you have to 10X everything. So like when someone comes to your office, you don't not offer them water, but then offering them water isn't even good enough. Offering them water and then bringing them the water bottle. No. You bring them the cup with ice and pour it in front of them. Like he just kept stacking. Like you think, oh, you thought bringing them a water bottle was nice. No. You have to pour it in a pretty glass or whatever. Like, and so I love that. But like listening to it was more of like a just like, it gets you just excited to go out there and do, because he just loves like just doing like just over the top stuff. And it makes you realize that you can get out of your comfort zone and like be over the top. And when you're over the top, it blows people away. So that's another one. And then this one for real estate professionals, if you haven't read it, if you're watching this and you're a real estate professional, read Harris Rules, Harris, Harris Rules by Tim and Julie Harris. They have the #1 real estate podcast in the United States, I believe. They are amazing human beings. They are really good teachers. They have that heart of a servant. So everything they do is just to try to help as many real estate professionals as possible. But their book is actual step by step on how to do it. Doesn't teach you how to write a contract. It's step by step how to go out there as many people as possible. And we talked earlier about how you can or cannot spend a ton of money on growing your real estate leads or business. This book will teach you how to go out there and do it without feeling like you have to spend $20,000 a month on Zillow ads. And that, don't get me wrong, that could be a perfect tool in your utility belt to grow your business. But if you don't have 20 grand for Zillow, this book will teach you how to go out there and help a lot of people achieve their real estate goals. And they're such a good resource. You'll read the book, and then if you go online and get into the part of their community, you're going to just continue to keep learning. So that's a good book if you want to actually learn how to like grow your real estate business.
Awesome, man. I just added that to my list because I haven't read Harris Rules yet. Have you read that, Will?
Nope. I think that's cool too. I like to highlight, a $10 or $20 book. Is worth so much. Like you said, if you don't have $20,000 for a Zillow listing, you probably have $10 or $20 for a book that can give you that type of power and value. So
and the only thing on that, that I didn't touch on is as far as success or like this or like the book and following it is just consistency. You don't have to be the best social media posting the best content on social media. You just have to be consistent. You can't post the best post you've ever posted and then not post again for 6 months. You just have to do it. You just have to talk to people and just take care of people consistently. Just consistency.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Great advice.
Yeah,
that's great advice. And I know Sam kind of asked this a little bit earlier, but we're gonna get really down to the details. So what's some advice that you'd give someone starting today if they wanted to do exactly what you're doing?
Get your license.
Okay. Yeah.
Get your license. It's, real estate license is a relatively low barrier of, of entry. So take a class. There's a great one locally. If it's something someone's interested in, I could be reached out to after the show to connect you with the local class that I took. I think he has like a crazy high success rate of passing the state exam. But get your license. You can't do anything without the license. And once you have the license, go find someone to learn from, and be open to learning, and don't feel like you have to go buy all the pretty stuff to make it happen. Just learn about it and learn how you can help people achieve that goal. So like, I know that sounds like maybe cliche, like, oh, you're just telling us to go help people, but really that's what it is. Get your license and then just be in front of people to find out how you can help them, and just be willing to, use resources to, the first time you write a contract and you don't 100% understand what the inspection contingency means, you ask your broker, or, ask someone, read about it, but you have to be open to that. You have to be open to learning. You have to be open to criticism, and feedback, because that's just the only way you're going to go to your first listing appointment. You're green. You just got your license and you go sit down, you didn't get the listing. You have to call that person and ask them why not. And then whatever they tell you, see if that's something you can or want to improve on. If they say, listen, it's just because you're brand new, then find a way to overcome that objection. Maybe it's bringing your broker in and telling, and that customer realizes that maybe your broker is going to be there every step of the way and they co-list it. But there's ways to overcome those objections, but you have to know them. So you have to ask, why did I not get this business? And then do it.
No.
Like I said earlier, have cash in the bank.
Yeah.
I mean, you really just, you need it. You just need to be able to pay your bills while you're talking to people. You get out there and you get a listing today and it's on the market for 30 days and you get it under contract and you close in 30, 45 days. You can get paid in the first 60, 70, 80 days. But until then, you got to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
You got to be able to put gas in your car to go show houses in the meantime.
Yeah. So, exactly.
Now, this was such a great episode. I think there was so much value for people that want to get into property management, people operating property management, realtors that are looking for the option. I'd even give advice to any realtors on the show that aren't into property management themselves. If you're in the Niceville community, reach out to John, because he can definitely help you, partner on deals. And I'd say Niceville, the whole Okaloosa County. Actually, John, where all do you do property management? Is it only Okaloosa County? Do you go to Walton County, Santa Rosa County? We have Niceville, Valparaiso, South Crestview, Freeport. We have rentals out there. 30A, Miramar Beach, Santa Rosa Beach.
Wow.
Destin, Fort Walton, Shalimar. Yeah, we can.
Cool.
I'm familiar with the Panama City Beach market, but right now I don't think I would do as much of a great service as I would want to for someone out there. So I'd probably refer that to someone, but we could go out there. But I mean, we can just do the whole Emerald Coast.
Gotcha. Yeah. So like I said, if you're a realtor, it's really great, I think, if you partner with someone like John, because like I said, right now when the market's a little stagnant, while interest rates are still high, if your home has been sitting for a little too long, let's help your client out, get their home rented, and then, you'll get the sale, later on when the timing's right. So I mean, I think that's great. And like I said, if anyone's interested in having John list their property or check it out for property management, please reach out to him. Where can people reach out to you? What's your website again, John?
Yeah, just saltandlightrealty.com. So all spelled out: salt like seasoning, and light like a light bulb, realty.
Perfect. Saltandlightrealty.com. So reach out to John. He would love to give you a quote for property management or to sell your home. He can break it down both ways for you to let you know which way is most advantageous, as well as giving you a realistic timeline of what it would take to sell your home in this current environment, which would possibly lead to you want to make one decision or the other. So like I said, there's a whole lot of options when you go with someone like John, who has, both sides of the spectrum to know if you want to make it a rental or make it a sale, that not every real estate agent, can offer you. So definitely think, especially if you're in Okaloosa County or Walton County, definitely reach out to John Sallman here. Man, this was a great episode. I love reconnecting with you. I love reminiscing on, like I said, all the chicken breasts I was getting. So like I said, though, it added up,
Yeah. I see. Yeah, you look good, man.
But anyway, man, Will, where can people find us?
Yeah, man. Check out the eliterealestatepodcast.com. You can find us on socials at Elite Real Estate Podcast. You can find me on Instagram at eliterealestatepodcast.william. And where can everybody find you, Sam?
Yeah, so you can find my personal Instagram at Sam_Florida Man. Feel free to shoot me a message there if you're looking at any kind of deals or if you have a deal for us. But always, I recommend checking out our website, the eliterealestatepodcast.com. That's the best place to shoot us a message, send us a deal. Will and I are currently actively looking for buildable lots in Escambia County. We have cash in the bank, ready to buy. We are cash buyers on buildable lots in Escambia County. So if you have any great deals, if they're on the MLS, we saw them already. So we're looking for great off-market deals where we can get some buildable lots for a great price. And we will look at larger pieces of land as well that we can subdivide and to multiple lots. So that would actually be ideal. So anyway, reach out to us at the eliterealestatepodcast.com. And guys, we enjoyed sharing this episode with you. We had a great time with John. He shared a lot of knowledge. And
thanks, John.
Definitely. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it, guys. I appreciate being here.
Yeah. Everybody, definitely tune into our next episode. And thank you for watching us and listening to us on this week's episode with John. So can't wait to see y'all next week on the Elite Real Estate Podcast.